Hey, 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 it's Finish or Fail. We watched the first 3 episodes, the good old 3 episode test of Revisions, the new Netflix original series that hasn't hit US Netflix yet, but you can watch it all online if you know where to look. Uh, what did you think of Revisions?
Well, I had some expectations for it based on the first episode because it had a really interesting protagonist and there was a lot of cool and shocking violence, and it's like I kind
Yeah.
of like the tone of the show. I want to see where this is going. The mech designs are kind of cool, but
They're alright. They're
they're
kind
not.
of exosuit, but bigger than usual.
Yeah, they. Yeah, I was curious, but
It quickly goes
it goes
nowhere.
to shit.
The premise of this show, and by the way, this is like a mostly CG anime, from the director who did Code Geass, Escryad, Infinite Revice, ID Zero, Active Raid. So in recent years, nothing that great, but lots of CG action shows. And
ID Zero is a masterpiece.
Sure,
Miguel out.
Miguel out.
Motherfuckers.
But yeah, the show gets it's mostly CG. There is some 2D integration, but it's handled a lot better than the other show that we talked about that did that in Seasonal Impressions. But still, I do not approve of this as a way forward for animation. This animation, everything 3D except for the couple of incidental characters who are in 2D. It looks
It's worse than CG pedestrians.
Yeah, I mean, you can't complain about CG pedestrians in a CG show.
No.
This show has a lot of CG pedestrians, but, it's just like, if you're gonna have CG pedestrians, why not just have CG incidental characters, too? I don't understand.
They use CG models because they're easier to animate. Like, why are you
Yeah.
going back to 2D? It's jank.
Yeah, it's weird, but
It makes
at least
no sense.
they use the lighting better in this show to make them look like they're in the same scene.
Yeah.
But in any case, it's another Anohana show about 5 insufferable teenagers
Anohana
with a past.
time loops.
Ever since Anohana, this has become a genre. Like the
Yeah.
5 insufferable teens genre.
5 douchebags.
Yeah, 5 douchebags with a past. And
Baggage.
the 5 of them, when they were kids, the main character was kidnapped. And he was rescued. Like, the kids came to try to save him, and they were rescued by this really hot pink-haired girl named Milo Yiannopoulos from the future, who,
She's a time traveler.
yeah, she's a time traveler, and, she had told the guy that, one day he was going to be a hero and protect everybody. So he becomes obsessed with this idea that he's going to protect everyone. And this is why you said he was kind of an interesting protagonist. It's funny because he looks a lot like Shinji Ikari, but he has the exact opposite personality. Almost to a point where I wonder if it was on purpose. Because this guy is very eager to get in the robot. Very eager to just fight anyone.
Yeah.
And, he's just a fucking psychopath. He's totally insane. He just rushes in to just beat up anyone who even, looks at his friends funny, and his friends do not approve.
No.
They're all you're fucking insane, and we can't stand to be around. I don't even know why they're around
why
him.
they're still friends with him.
Yeah, they all seem to hate him and think that he's a fucking pain in the ass. And they're just constantly trying to rein him in because he's out of control, and
he has issues.
Yeah, he's talking to his teacher at one point, and they're trying to be hey, we need you to do better at your studies, and he's like, I'm gonna be a hero. I'm gonna protect people. I need to protect people. So then Shibuya, the ward in which they live in Tokyo, which you've definitely seen, it's the one with the big monitors and the famous crosswalk, if you
The
will.
doggy.
Shibuya gets isekai'd into the future, into a post-apocalyptic future. So, modern Shibuya just appears in a future where everything outside of Shibuya is fucked, right? And our protagonist is immediately yes, I'm gonna be the hero. And Milo is here, but she doesn't remember them. She's I'm not from whatever timeline I, interacted with you guys. Though she doesn't say it, even though that's obviously what happened. Instead, that's a mystery that everyone has to. Oh, but we saw you. How is it possible that you're not you who we saw? And she's like, I don't know, guys. I don't know why.
Actually, I'm a time traveler.
Yeah, she literally says that.
Like, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. No shit. Yeah. So they fucking. God damn, like. The first episode, as soon as they get isekai, there's these big monster mech things that just start grabbing people into fucking pulp, like just pulverizing people in their grip. So like immediately like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing. This is gonna be an edgy, violent monster attack, like, you know, this is something that is perfect for Netflix. Like, this is what the West wants from anime, is crazy, violent insanity. Yeah, exactly. So immediately we're like, all right, cool. I'll watch people die. I want to see some action. Then you get to episode 2, and it takes an angle I really didn't expect, which is that the Shibuya, like, government and police force is, like, trying to go into disaster relief mode and like manage the populace.
Conflicting interests too, and also the population's like trying to revolt because
yeah,
they're not able to get any disaster relief because they're like they've been spirited away into like another fucking universe.
It's pretty retarded.
Because it could be interesting to explore this kind of stuff, but it's presented
the show
so
like
poorly.
They've been teleported into what, for all intents and purposes, is another fucking dimension. Like, nothing should even work in Shibuya.
No.
Like, the idea that I don't know where the power grids are.
If you're gonna take a realistic approach to this, then like have it couched in some reality, have it make sense.
It's so weird because they never show the public. Like, there's all these scenes where it'll be, like, in the police headquarters, and you can hear rioting outside, but they don't show it. They don't show what's happening to the regular people in the streets of Shibuya. All we know is that there is unrest. And, like, we keep cutting to the police chief and the mayor, like, trying to decide what they're gonna do, and, like, everybody's yelling at each other, and it's just like, this is fucking nonsense. Like, the premise of this show, trying to interpret this as a disaster show, makes it... This is not Tokyo Magnitude 8.0. Like, there are not protocols, none of this makes sense, and, like, the only person who knows anything is, Milo. So she's like... these 5 teenagers are the only people who can pilot these 3 robots we've got that can fight the monsters. And they're just like, alright, I guess that's what we're doing. So, like, it's just, everything about it is just, like, they had this premise, so they just went with it. And, like, the premise is stupid. And instead of justifying the premise, because, like, when you have a really stupid premise, the task becomes, can we make this somehow make sense? Can we write this in such a way that you will believe this retarded premise? They did not.
No, they just make the characters more retarded.
Yes, the characters are fucking insufferable.
Bring everything down to this level.
Yeah. So the main character is... literally,
he's a psychopath.
Just all he cares about is, like, he's got this really smug expression. You made an amazing tweet.
I made a tweet meme.
Of him. What's your Twitter? Just for our followers who don't know you have one.
I'm Supa, S-U-P-A, cute.
Yes, _ I'm super cute. No
Follow
apostrophe in the I'm. Just all one. But
you even have an apostrophe and a
I don't
Twitter
know.
handle?
But you tweeted his face on the Trump hat kid,
smug face,
and it's fucking perfect. It looks just like him. He's super smug, and he's like excited about piloting the robot and saving everyone, but he's a total asshole. And like, you don't even have to wait around for like, oh, he's gonna get like, oh, it's gonna be a show about how wanting to get in the robot too badly is a mistake. No, that's apparent from minute 1. Like, everyone's mentality towards this kid is, you're fucking psychotic. Yeah. And you as a viewer are like, this kid is fucking psychotic. Like, and that nothing about that changes. Like, the first 3 episodes are just him going, like, him rushing in and everyone else telling him that he's being an ass. Like, that's the show. all the other
And
characters...
then him getting jealous that his friends know how to pilot it.
Yeah, all the other characters are nothing burgers. Like, they have no personality. Literally, it's just the cast of Anohana. Like, that 5 template personalities is what all these shows do.
They're all douchebags who shouldn't be friends.
Yeah.
Like, they were childhood friends, and, like, none of them are from, like, the same clique or the same type of person.
No.
It's like, why do they still hang out?
It's really
Their
questionable.
school looks fucking huge. Like...
And so then you've got, you've got the edgy death element, but that kind of falls by the wayside.
But it isn't even, like, real... There's no payoff, because in, like, the first episode, there's the teacher who... Everybody's, like, at the top of the building, and there's, like, a giant robot that's attacking them and killing people, and the teacher, like, runs in and locks the door and, like, leaves a bunch of kids to their deaths.
They're trying to get out, and she has locked the door behind her.
So you're just, like, waiting for this teacher to die.
Right.
And the robot finally gets her, but
at the start of episode 2, like, right away.
Yeah, he gets her, and then he puts her in, like, a cryo tube.
Yeah,
he doesn't even kill her!
The robots, like, kill some of the people and then put other people in these tanks on their back for some reason. And then, like, it's seemingly she got freed from the tank, because she's still alive later in the episode.
I have no idea how that happened.
It did not show her getting freed from the tank, so, and it's like, alright, is she gonna die later? Is she just gonna die worse?
No, she's probably
is she
never
gonna do something
show
else
up
bad?
ever in the story again.
It's hard to say. She was obviously being set up to die horribly, so it's weird that she didn't. But yeah, like, episode 3 was where it was like, alright, this is bad.
It was just an expedition dump. Like,
exposition.
I said that.
It was also an expedition dump because
dump.
literally the first, like, 12 minutes is just one scene of, like, the characters driving and explaining the plot. It's like Milo's on a motorcycle, and then all the kids are in a police car, and the main character's in a mech.
But they have to explain to us what a pandemic is, and then she has to be like, oh, by the way, I'm a time traveler.
Yeah, well, she just explains mostly things that you should have been able to infer by what's going on.
Yeah,
it's
they
like
don't need to be explained.
We already knew that they had been transported to the future, and that she, therefore, like, it was obvious she was a time traveler. It was obvious that they were in a post-apocalyptic world. It was, like, everything that's explained is stuff that, like, doesn't really further the narrative. It just fills in whatever gaps you might not have grasped about what's going on. But it's like 12 minutes of that, of just, like, re-explaining it, and then, everybody going, but how is it possible that you're not the same person we knew? And it's like, obviously, parallel timelines. Like, is that not... I have some trope knowledge. And then, like...
It's simple sci-fi.
The second half of the episode is kind of laying the seeds for this idea that all 5 of them might be from different timelines, because they all have a different memory of what Milo told them in the past. And so it seems like the idea here is that Milo has continually gone back to the past trying to prevent this pandemic, and she knows that one of these 5 kids is the key, but, like, she doesn't know what she needs to tell them or who needs to be the bringer of the change. So she gives each of them a different idea of what they're supposed to do, hoping that one of those will work out, I guess. That seems to be the case. That's just me reading between the lines, because I know this is all going to be explained ad nauseum as the show continues.
One of the kids, just decide for yourself.
Yeah.
That's like what she had to go back in time to tell
One
her.
of them was, don't trust anything. One of them was, accept everything. One of them was, make a decision for yourself. And one is, you're going to be the hero who saves everyone, I guess. It's pretty stupid. And, like, yeah, again, it was, like, all exposition. And then there's an action scene, but it's not, like, there's no stakes. Because the only people who were fighting were Milo and the main character, and then, like, these enemy robots that you don't care about because they're just generic enemy robots. So it's like, well, obviously Milo and the main guy aren't gonna die, and, like, the action choreography is nothing special. It's just a bunch of big CG robots bashing against each other. We see some police officers die, I
But
guess.
they're nameless ones. Like, there's ones that
Yeah.
we've been introduced to and seemed like they probably would die because they're completely incompetent.
Right.
And can barely hold a gun, but it's like, okay.
None of that happened. So, yeah, episode 3 fucking sucked.
Yeah,
and
so
I had no desire to continue at that point. There's some promise. Like, it's interesting to have such an unhinged main character and a story that is clearly critical of him, but that's all the thought that is in this show. Like, that's the only interesting thing.
My favorite part
at
of the
all.
show is they're, like, in the police office, and one of the kids is just, like, swiveling on his chair, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, that's good. That's the best thing the show has to offer.
My favorite thing about 3D animation is that it does allow for a lot more, like, movement in scenes that normally wouldn't have movement in shows like this. So, that's why I think I was willing to accept the 3D, because it's done competently.
Yeah.
Like, not amazingly, but competently.
I mean, we've seen shows in this vein that are done in CG that look good and are interesting.
But the script is just abysmal, so
bad.
why bother? Which is the story of all these fucking Netflix originals so far.
Needs to be revised.
Heavily revised. It needed a few more passes for sure. From the conceptual level up. Anyway, that's it. This is going to be the last video on this channel for probably the next week, because we're about to take a vacation across the country. So, see you in the next one.